The police didn't find a body. They found a crypto wallet. Not a gun, not fingerprints, just 12 words. 12 ordinary words scribbled on the back of a pizza receipt. That was enough to make 3 detectives stop talking, because everyone in the room knew those 12 words were worth $43 million. People say money changes people. They're wrong. Money doesn't change anyone. It just removes the mask. Crypto removes the mask even faster. And that's exactly how I ended up standing in the middle of an abandoned warehouse at 3 in the morning, holding a flashlight in one hand and someone else's hardware wallet in the other. Behind me, police sirens. In front of me, a steel door slowly opening. I had exactly 8 seconds to decide: run, hide, or become the next headline. But to understand why a pizza receipt almost started a war, we need to go back 6 months. 6 months earlier. I wasn't a criminal. I wasn't rich. I wasn't even interested in crypto. I worked in customer support for a company that sold office printers. Every day felt identical. Wake up, coffee, emails, customers yelling because their printer suddenly stopped working. Spoiler, it wasn't broken. They just forgot to plug it in. Again, my biggest financial decision was whether I could afford extra cheese on Friday night. Life wasn't exciting, but it was predictable. Then crypto entered my life, like an uninvited guest who somehow knew where the spare key was hidden. It started with one message from my oldest friend, Leo, the kind of guy who smiled like he already knew the ending of every movie. He texted, "Bro, I think I accidentally became rich." I laughed. Everyone says that during bull markets. 5 minutes later, he pulled up outside my apartment, not in his old rusty Honda, in a matte black Lamborghini. I stared. He rolled down the window. "Get in." I didn't move. "Seriously?" He grinned. I sold a meme coin. Silence. I looked at the car, then at him, then back at the car. "You robbed a bank?" "No." "You inherited money?" "No." "You married a billionaire?" He looked offended. "Dude, I have standards." I couldn't help laughing. The absurdity of it all felt like a prank. 24 hours earlier, this guy had borrowed $20 from me. Now he was asking where we should eat in Paris. I got in. Worst decision, or maybe the best. Depends which chapter of the story you're reading. As we drove through the city, everyone looked normal. People crossed streets. Couples argued over coffee. Kids chased pigeons. Nobody realized fortunes were changing every second inside invisible blockchains. Someone was becoming a millionaire. Someone else was losing everything. Nobody screamed. No explosions. Just numbers. Moving. Quietly. Changing lives. That's the strange thing about crypto. The biggest crimes don't always make noise. Sometimes they look exactly like success. Leo turned the music down. "You trust me?" I shrugged. "I probably shouldn't." He smiled. "Perfect." Then he handed me a tiny black device, a hardware wallet. It looked ridiculously ordinary, like something you'd lose between couch cushions. "What is this?" He answered without looking at me. "My entire future." I laughed. He didn't. That's when I realized he wasn't joking anymore, and neither was the story. Leo placed a hardware wallet in my hand. It was lighter than my phone, smaller than my TV remote, and somehow heavier than anything I'd ever held. "That's it?" I asked. He nodded. "That's everything." I flipped it over. "No glowing lights, no lasers, no secret fingerprint scanner?" Leo laughed. "Nope." "So, $43 million live inside this tiny piece of plastic?" He shook his head. "No." I frowned. "No. The money isn't inside the wallet." He tapped my forehead. "It's on the blockchain." Then he tapped the wallet. "This is just the key." That sentence stayed with me, because keys don't matter until someone wants to steal them. Leo parked outside a quiet diner. Nothing fancy. Greasy burgers, sticky tables, coffee that tasted like burned regret. The kind of place nobody wealthy would choose, which, according to Leo, was exactly the point. "The rich hide in plain sight," he said. "You expect yachts. They prefer cheap coffee." I laughed. He didn't. Again. A waitress walked over. "Can I get you boys anything?" "Burgers, fries, everything." She smiled. "Tough day?" Leo answered first. "You have no idea." While we waited, he finally explained everything. 6 months earlier, he'd bought a ridiculous meme coin, not because he believed in it, because someone online made a funny dog video. "That's your investment strategy?" It worked. I hate that it worked. So do economists. We both laughed, but something felt off. Leo kept checking the restaurant windows every 30 seconds, like he expected someone or feared someone. "You okay?" "Yeah." "You don't look okay." "I've been getting messages." "What kind?" "The kind rich people get." "What? Congratulations?" He looked at me. Worse. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. Again. He ignored it. Buzz. Again. Ignored. Buzz. Again. I leaned over. "Dude, answer it." He sighed. Pressed speaker. Silence. 5 seconds. Then a calm voice. "We know where you are." Click. The line went dead. Neither of us spoke. Even the waitress seemed quieter somehow. I forced a laugh. "Probably scammers." Leo didn't answer. Instead, he opened his email. Hundreds of unread messages, some offering investments, some asking for partnerships, some promising unbelievable returns, and mixed between them, death threats. One subject line simply read, "Give us the seed phrase." I swallowed. "You called the police?" "They can't protect 12 words." That hit harder than I expected, because he was right. If someone steals your car, insurance. If someone steals your credit card, bank. If someone steals your crypto, silence. No manager, no customer support, no magical refund button, just one irreversible transaction. Forever. Freedom and responsibility. Living together? Leo suddenly leaned closer. "I need a favor." I knew this burger wasn't free. "If anything happens to me," I interrupted. "Stop. I'm serious." "No. You don't even know what I'm asking." "I don't care." He stared, then quietly slid a folded piece of paper across the table. "Keep this." I looked down. "What is it?" "Don't open it. That's suspicious." "I know." "You know what makes people open envelopes? Telling them not to." "Exactly." He smiled for the first time all evening. A real smile. For about 3 seconds. Then it disappeared. The diner door opened. A man walked inside. Gray hoodie, baseball cap. Nothing unusual. Except he wasn't looking for food. His eyes locked onto Leo immediately. Leo froze. Our burgers arrived. Perfect timing. Nobody touched them. The man ordered a coffee. Never drank it. Just sat, watching, waiting, smiling, very slightly, enough to make the room colder. I whispered, "Friend of yours." Leo answered without moving his lips. "I've never seen him before." "Then why is he staring?" "Because..." He exhaled slowly. "He knows my face." 10 minutes later, we left. The hooded man waited exactly 30 seconds. then followed us outside. Not running, not hiding, just walking, like he already knew we'd lead him somewhere useful. I looked back. Still there. I know. What do we do? Leo tossed me his car keys. You drive. I've never driven a Lamborghini. Congratulations. Now's a terrible time for first experiences. He smiled. It gets worse. The engine roared. We pulled into traffic. 1 block, 2 blocks, 3. I checked the mirror. Still there. Except it wasn't 1 car anymore. It was 3. Black SUV, silver sedan, white van. None of them overtook us. None of them fell behind. All moving together, like a school of sharks. Leo looked straight ahead. Don't panic. I'm trying. Try harder. Then his phone rang 1 last time. Unknown number. He answered. Didn't say a word. Just listened. His face drained of color. What? He whispered. How do you know that? Silence. Then the caller said 1 sentence. 1 sentence that made Leo slam his phone onto the dashboard. They're inside your apartment. He turned toward me, eyes wide. They're not after me anymore. A beat. They're after the envelope. They're after the envelope. Leo didn't wait for my reaction. Turn right. I can't. Turn. The Lamborghini screamed through the corner. Tires protested. A delivery guy dropped his coffee. Somebody honked. Nobody knew a fortune was racing through the city. Not in cash, not in gold, in fear. I checked the mirror. The black SUV followed. The silver sedan followed. The white van, gone. For a second. Then it appeared again. Different street, same direction. They're splitting up, I muttered. Leo nodded. They're organized. You know who they are. I know enough to be scared. That doesn't answer the question. No, it never does. Another turn. Red light. Leo looked left, looked right, then calmly said, "Run it." What? Run the red? Are you insane? They're not trying to give us a parking ticket. Good point. Terrible situation. I hit the gas. The car shot through the intersection. A truck missed us by inches. The driver leaned out the window and screamed something creative. I didn't hear it. My heartbeat was louder. Leo grabbed his phone. No signal. He cursed. That's impossible. What? I had service a second ago. I looked at my phone. Nothing. No bars, no internet, nothing. Can they do that? They can do worse. We pulled into an underground parking garage. Dark, concrete, empty. At least, it looked empty. Leo pointed toward the far corner. Stop here. I parked. The engine died. Silence. Not peaceful silence. The kind that makes every tiny sound feel dangerous. Drip, drip. Somewhere above us. Water hit concrete. Neither of us moved. Then, footsteps. Slow, measured, coming closer. Leo whispered, "If anything happens..." I rolled my eyes. "You're doing that speech again." He almost smiled. "This time, listen." He reached into his jacket. Not for a weapon, for another envelope. I blinked. Wait. You already gave me one. I know. Why do you have another one? Because I lied. My stomach tightened. The first envelope was empty. I stared at him. You're kidding. No. You made me risk my life. For an empty envelope? He nodded. I needed to know if someone was watching. I couldn't believe it. So I was bait. You were the only person I trusted. That's somehow worse. The footsteps stopped. A voice echoed through the garage. Leo. Friendly. Too friendly. You've been difficult to reach. Leo closed his eyes. You know him? I wish I didn't. The man stepped into the light. Perfect suit, perfect haircut, perfect smile. The kind of smile that belongs in toothpaste commercials or interrogation rooms. Evening, gentlemen. He looked at me. You must be the friend. I forced a smile. I've been called worse. He chuckled. I like him. Leo didn't. What do you want, Victor? Victor spread his hands. Conversation. Liar. Okay. The seed phrase. There it was. 12 words. Again. Always the 12 words. Victor sighed dramatically. You know what's funny? No. Everyone thinks crypto is anonymous. He walked a little closer. It isn't greed that's anonymous. He pointed at Leo. 6 months ago. You were invisible. Today, people you've never met are willing to kill for 12 words. He looked at me. And now, so are you. I laughed, too loudly. Victor raised an eyebrow. You think this is funny? No, I think you're wrong. Oh? I don't even know the seed phrase. Victor smiled wider. I know. That answer hit harder than any punch. Because if they weren't chasing the phrase, then what were they chasing? Victor answered before I could ask. The person. He pointed at me. Not the wallet. You. I froze. What? Leo looked away, didn't deny it, didn't interrupt, didn't defend me. I turned toward him. Leo, what does he mean? Silence. Just long enough to feel like betrayal. Finally, Leo whispered. I'm sorry. For what? I didn't bring you here. To protect the wallet. Another pause. I brought you here because they were always going to come after you. Everything inside me stopped. The chase, the envelope, the hardware wallet, the threats, none of it made sense anymore. Why me? Leo swallowed. Because 6 months ago, before I became rich, I used your laptop, a beat, and someone believes your computer still contains the only copy of something worth much more than $43 million. I stared at him. What did you do on my laptop? Leo didn't answer. He didn't have to. Because behind Victor, I suddenly noticed 3 more people stepping out of the shadows. One of them was holding my old laptop. My laptop? For a second, everything else disappeared. Not the men, not the garage, not even Victor. Just my old laptop. The same scratched-up machine that took 15 minutes to boot. The one I almost threw away because the fan sounded like a helicopter. I laughed, not because anything was funny, because my brain refused to believe what my eyes were seeing. You're risking all of this, I pointed at the laptop. For that? Victor smiled. People have started wars over less. One of Victor's men placed a laptop on the hood of the SUV, carefully, like it was priceless. Maybe it was. Victor looked at Leo. You really should have wiped it. Leo answered quietly. I thought I did. You missed one folder? My heart sank. One folder? I had used that laptop every day. Photos, movies, taxes, random memes. A folder named New Folder 7, because I was too lazy to rename it. What could possibly be worth this much? Victor slowly opened the lid. The old laptop made that familiar grinding sound. I actually recognized it. That ridiculous noise suddenly felt personal. The screen flickered to life. Password. Victor looked at me. Go ahead. No, I wasn't asking. One of the men stepped forward. Big guy, broken nose, Tattoo on his neck. Definitely not IT support. He cracked his knuckles. Victor sighed. I really hate unnecessary violence. Then he looked back at me. So please, type. I stared at the keyboard. My fingers hovered over it. Then, an idea. A stupid one. Probably. I typed the wrong password. Access denied. Victor smiled. Try again. Wrong password. Again. The fourth attempt. The laptop locked itself. A tiny message appeared. Try again in 30 minutes. I couldn't help it. I grinned. Victor didn't. For the first time, his smile vanished. The silence that followed was terrifying. Then, he laughed. Actually laughed. You know, he adjusted his tie. I almost respect that. He snapped his fingers. The big guy stepped toward Leo instead. Wait, Victor shrugged. You wasted my time. So now, I'll waste yours. The punch landed before I could move. Leo crashed against the concrete wall. Blood. Just a little. Enough. I took a step forward. Victor raised one finger. No. If you move, he gets another one. I froze, helpless. That's the thing nobody tells you about real danger. In movies, people become heroes. In real life, sometimes your feet refuse to move. Not because you're weak, because you're calculating. If I rushed them, Leo could die. If I obeyed, maybe we'd get another chance. Maybe. Victor crouched beside the laptop. You still don't understand. He looked directly into my eyes. This isn't about money anymore. It never was. I frowned. What are you talking about? He turned the screen toward me. One folder remained, hidden, encrypted, untouched. Its name was Genesis. I blinked. I've never seen that, Leo whispered from the floor. Because I hid it. My head spun. You hid files. On my computer. I needed somewhere nobody would look. So you picked my laptop. You never updated Windows. Hackers avoid miracles. Even Victor laughed at that. I couldn't believe it. So this whole nightmare started because my laptop was old? Leo managed a weak smile. Pretty much. Victor clicked the folder. Password required. Again. He looked at Leo. Open it. Leo spit blood onto the concrete. No. Victor sighed. I expected that. Then he turned toward me. You know what makes crypto fascinating? I stayed silent. He answered his own question. It gives ordinary people extraordinary power. He paused. And extraordinary power creates extraordinary temptation. He walked slowly across the garage. When banks controlled everything, people complained. When governments printed money, people complained. When crypto gave everyone freedom, people discovered something worse. He stopped. They couldn't blame anyone anymore. Silence. If you lose your keys, it's your fault. If you trust the wrong person, your fault. If greed blinds you, also your fault. He smiled again. Freedom is expensive. That sentence echoed inside my head. Freedom is expensive. Wasn't that exactly what crypto promised? Freedom. Without permission, without banks, without middlemen. But nobody mentioned the price. Suddenly, a ringtone echoed through the garage. Everyone froze. Not my phone, not Leo's, Victor's. He frowned, answered, listened. His expression changed instantly. What? A pause. Impossible. Another pause. He slowly lowered the phone. For the first time that night, Victor looked scared. One of his men asked, "Boss." Victor whispered just 3 words. Someone moved it. Leo looked up, smiled through the blood, and quietly said, "I told you." The wallet was never the treasure. The wallet was never the treasure. Nobody spoke. Not me, not Victor, not the men surrounding us. It was strange. A sentence that simple could make an entire room feel smaller. Victor slowly turned back toward Leo. "What did you move?" Leo smiled. Not confidently, not proudly, just enough to tell Victor, "You're already too late." Victor walked over and grabbed Leo by the collar. "No games. There aren't any games. You said someone moved it." "I said," Leo coughed, "someone." Victor tightened his grip. "Who?" Leo looked straight into his eyes. "I don't know." Silence. Victor searched his face for a lie. He didn't find one. That scared him more than if Leo had confessed. I frowned. "Wait. You seriously don't know?" Leo slowly shook his head. "I built a dead man's switch." Victor's expression changed instantly. He knew exactly what that meant. I didn't. "A what?" Leo looked at me. "If something happened to me, a chain of automated actions would begin." I blinked. "You mean, if I disappeared, the assets would automatically move?" Victor cursed under his breath, loudly, very loudly. Now it was my turn to be confused. "So, the 43 million is gone?" Leo laughed. "No, it moved. To where? I honestly don't know." "You're kidding. I designed it that way. You created a system that even you can't track." "Exactly." For a moment, even I had to admit, that was kind of brilliant and completely insane. Victor slammed his fist onto the SUV. "You idiot," Leo smiled. "No, I planned ahead." Victor pointed at him. "You locked yourself out." Leo shrugged. "I locked everyone out." That landed like a punch. For the first time, the richest man in the room was the one lying on the concrete floor, because nobody else controlled his future anymore. Not even him. One of Victor's men stepped forward. "Boss!" "What if he's telling the truth?" Victor didn't answer. He was thinking, calculating. If the money had moved, then everything had changed. The wallet in Leo's pocket, almost worthless. The hardware device, just plastic. The real treasure was wherever the blockchain said it was, and right now, nobody knew where. Then, something unexpected happened. The biggest guy in Victor's crew started laughing. Not a chuckle, a full laugh. Victor stared at him. "What?" The man wiped a tear from his eye. "I just realized something." "What?" "We're standing in a parking garage, arguing over money. That literally doesn't exist in this room." Nobody answered, because he was right. There wasn't a suitcase, no stacks of cash, no diamonds, just phones, laptops, passwords, and fear. That was modern crime. Victor slowly looked around, almost disappointed. "My grandfather robbed banks," he sighed. "My father laundered cash." He looked at the hardware wallet on the hood. "And I'm chasing 12 words." Even Leo laughed. For one strange moment, everyone did, even me. It was absurd. A room full of armed criminals, laughing because crime had gone digital. The laughter died quickly. Victor's phone buzzed again. He answered. No greeting, just listened. His face turned pale. "Say that again." A pause, then another. He whispered, "How many?" He ended the call. One of his men asked, "What happened?" Victor looked toward the garage entrance. "They're here." "Who?" Victor swallowed. "The people we stole it from." My stomach dropped. I looked at Leo. "You never said you stole anything." Leo closed his eyes. "I didn't." Victor answered for him. "He didn't steal crypto." He paused. He stole information. I frowned. What information? Victor smiled bitterly. The kind governments, corporations, and criminals would all pay fortunes to own. Everything I'd believed about the story cracked. This wasn't about a lucky meme coin anymore. The crypto fortune had only been a distraction, a spotlight. While everyone chased money, something far more valuable had been moving quietly in the background. Classic misdirection, the oldest trick in the world, updated for the blockchain era. Then the lights went out, total darkness. Someone shouted, a gun hit the floor, footsteps, running, glass shattered somewhere above us. Victor yelled, nobody move. Naturally, everyone moved. I couldn't see anything, only breathing. Mine, Leo's, someone else's. Then, a tiny green light appeared. Not from a phone, not from the laptop, from the hardware wallet. One small LED, blinking, once, twice, 3 times. Leo whispered from somewhere in the darkness. Oh no. I couldn't see his face, but I heard something in his voice that terrified me far more than Victor ever had. Regret. Then the wallet vibrated and displayed a single message. New owner confirmed.